OMG. The Yankees kicked ass against the Guardians. We have an ALCS, a true heavyweight fight, Yankees versus Astros. The National League has two wild card teams coming at it, and they're gonna bring hella fire to the world in baseball. But ultimately, the baseball playoffs have been everything we've wanted to and more. And let's get into it as we look ahead to the championship series. We have Leo again. What's up, Leo?
What's up? Glad to be back. Let's go.
Me too. Alex is back as well. What's up, my friend?
I'm good. Excited to talk some ALCS, NLCS. It's going to be fun.
Yes, it will be. All right, guys. I guess let's talk about before we get into the teams and the matchups as a whole. Let's focus on this. MLB Postseason has created so much drama. What do you guys think about all the hype, crazy games, all the fanfare with the, especially in the division series? We saw an 18-inning game. We saw, like I said, wildcard teams break away to make it to the Final Four, if you will. We saw these teams that won hundreds of games throughout the season, your Dodgers, your Braves, and your Mets earlier on. They didn't even make it. They got major layoffs, and they're the ones sitting at home. Just how do you feel about October baseball up until the middle of the month at this point?
It's been exciting. I mean, other than me and Leo being Mets fans, and an unfortunate early exit for us, but we already talked all about that. It's been fun. There's been teams that got hot at the right times. We're seeing that in the NLCS right now. No one, I think, thought the Phillies and the Padres would be facing off, but here we are. And then going over the ALCS, Yankees, Astros, we get what I think everyone wanted this year. We want that, kind of redemption story, if you will, for the Yankees to overcome this Astros hill. If they can, we'll discuss that. But it's been exciting. It's been fun. The only thing I'm thinking of, and we can talk about it maybe a little later, I think we should change the game format. I know, wild card was traditionally one game and you're out, and this year it's 3. I think it should be best of 5 wild card and then best of 7 the rest of the way. And I'm not trying to say this as a Mets fan that just lost in the wild card. I'm just thinking going forward, you get more baseball, one, and with these teams that have had good seasons, you catch them off on 2 bad nights, they're gone. I say if you get 3 bad nights, you deserve to be out of the postseason. So I think it should be 5 and 7 the rest of the way. Just the one, I want more baseball, and 2, I just think it would make the wild card a little bit more fun. I know 3 games is fun, but it's kind of quick. And we're seeing now, and a lot of people are complaining, that the NLCS, is teams that don't really deserve to be there because they just caught these teams on bad days and then they're already out, right? So, I think it should be best of 5, best of 7 the rest of the way. That's the one thing I was just thinking of watching this postseason so far, is that I think it'd be fun to have wild card best of 5 and then best of 7 the rest of the way.
I always said that baseball had the best playoffs. I think it's just the most exciting time of the year, and it interlaps in the beginning of the football year and the basketball year. And I can't even get into football and basketball until the baseball finishes. But I love the format. I do. I hated that 1 game elimination. I hated that so much. But I think it's fine. Wild card is best out of 3, then best out of 5, then best out of 7 in the World Series. I had a feeling where the wild card teams they start playing and they know mix of things already. Every day is an elimination game, and then the good teams are sitting down, and we saw how they both got eliminated, the Dodgers and the Braves. I think it really affected them, and it almost affected the Yankees, and I think they got real lucky. I think they scratched one out. So let's see what happens. I think we got great series. I think we saw the Dodgers and Padres. We saw the Braves. That surprised me. The Phillies are the biggest surprise to me, and they won yesterday too. And Yeah, I think it's the most exciting time of the year. We've seen great teams, great pitching, great offense, defense, weird games, 18 innings, blown saves. It's just been everything in this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think Alex, you make an interesting point if they could somehow figure that out schedule wise, and that brings me
Yeah, that's
to
the one thing for sure.
that brings me to this next point I'm thinking on. We have the layoffs as a major issue. Now, I think your idea works, Alex, as long as instead of having 2 first-round buys, it's one. One team gets the buy. I think that makes the most sense. And listen, we're gonna as we break down the ALCS, especially, we'll get into it a little more. But but um, excuse me, lost my train of thought. If the Yankees make a real push on these Astros, which we want, and if they really beat this Astros team and say they beat them handily, then maybe people have a case about the layoffs. But then again, ultimately, just win. Like, who cares about the extra breaks you get? That's a whole life thing. People literally bored on third base and whatever. You got to still win the game no matter what, despite the advantages. And, those who are meant to be will still figure it out. So that's how I feel in this. The Braves, as I said, the big three and the Braves, Dodgers, and Mets with all 100 plus win teams didn't win where they were supposed to. So I don't think the layoffs should be something to complain about. Hence, will help your point more to have a wildcard series as 5 games, Alex. But do you feel the same way with the layoffs, or people are just being crybabies about it? And I'll admit I'd probably be one too if the opposite happened with my team and we lost with the layoff. But it is what it is, right? And I'm sure in history that has happened. So there you go.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge thing about the layoffs. I mean, a good amount of sports deal with layoffs before the big games, right? You have football that has that. Basketball to an extent. There's a little bit of break before postseason play for these teams. With the playing tournament now, playing a factor. So I wasn't a big proponent of saying that. It's the playoffs. You have to be ready when it matters. I think layoffs can have a benefit more than a disadvantage. If teams are banged up and injured, you get those few extra days to rest up and get ready. And you should be taking the time to be game ready. I know baseball is a very tough sport. Getting a few days off can really knock yourself off the rhythm. All these guys have routines and all these things that they need to do. But I wasn't a huge person on thinking, just because the Dodgers got a few extra days, that's the reason why they lost to the Padres. It was, no, the Padres stayed hot. They did everything they had to do to win games and grind them out. They weren't, disproportionate scores. It wasn't like every game was Padres 11, Dodgers 2. It was a battle. So I wasn't a huge person on thinking, the layoffs were going to cause any issues for these teams. Because they have to be game ready. You should be taking that extra time to rest up, heal up, whatever you got to do, strength, conditioning, be in the batting cage extra time. It's the playoffs. You got to be ready to go when it matters. So I'm not one of those type of fans of being like, oh, he's got the extra days. This is brutal. Now you should still be ready when it matters.
Yeah, I agree, because it's not like they off for 2 weeks, not even a week. It was like 3-4 days off. And look at Houston. Houston took full advantage, swept Seattle, and I think it would have really helped the Mets and getting Scherzer and the ground rested. But like you said, they got to be ready. They professionals, and I think it helps the pitching more so. It probably affects the hitters more, because if you're hot, you do not want to sit down for a weekend. You want to go out and play in the next game. And but like you said, I think the wild card teams in the National League, I think they took full advantage. They were hot. Phillies those bats that Phillies and San Diego will have great lineups. And once they got playing meaningful baseball, playoff baseball, and they just kept on moving, and they were hot against the St. Louis and the Mets, and then moved on and took their hot bats to the Dodgers and Braves, and it worked out for them. So I like the layoffs. I think more teams will plan ahead of time, and I don't know. I think the layoffs I think it's going nowhere. I think the one thing I don't like is how the Yankees play. I get it with the rain delay, and then they have to play. They're flying into Houston today. I think that's bad. But what can you do?
Hey, it just is what it is, right? Like you said, what are you gonna do? But regardless, you're in the opportunity to make amends of it and make an impact. And if you make the most of this opportunity, right, no matter when they're supposed to show up. And with that, let's get into the ALCS right away, gentlemen. First, I will talk about the Yankees and their win into getting there, and then we'll talk about Houston's road. First, with the Yankees, they cut it close, really, really close. And well, I can't. I'm so happy that we're talking about the Yankees in a positive light after what I thought could have gone either way. Now, Yankees win game 1 on a stellar performance by Garrett Cole. Tough loss at game 2, losing at the tail end of the game. Game 3, losing on a walk-off, and then we're now down 2-1. Then game 4 happens. Garrett Cole pitches a stellar again. Offense starts right away. And, I knew the Yankees were going to win this series after Josh Naylor's rockabye baby gesture to Garrett Cole. That had bad karma written all over it. That did not give them a lead. And I just knew that if we could just hold our own at that point, we're going to win the series. And it turns out to be true. Now, credit to the Guardians. Nobody expected them to go this far. They made a real push in September, and they made the Yankees and the Yankees fans nervous. Well, ultimately, their weakness of not being able to hit, more than just a couple bloop singles here and there. And, we're at where we're at now. And though their pitching was definitely a highlight, the Yankees made offense right away. Shouts in game 5 with Stanton's 3-run homer, who was an MVP in this series. Judge goes deep again as well. And we're here where we are at right now. And I'll have more to that, but I'll add more to that a little on. But how about the Yankees beating the Guardians? Were you guys nervous like I was? Did you think at any point that Cleveland could be the one to knock off the Yankees?
For me, there's some shaky moments for the Yankees where I thought the series was about to change. Obviously the walk-off loss, you kind of were in control of that game. I went to sleep during that game. I was like, oh, Yankees got this. And then I woke up and it was 6-5 Guardians. And I was like, what happened? So I watched the end of that and I was like, the momentum could change. But once it flipped to force in game 5 back at Yankee Stadium, I was like, I can't see the Guardians upsetting the Yankees, especially them being pissed off, which was great, which was fantastic at the end. I'm a Mets fan. Everyone knows that. Them taunting Josh Naylor at the end of that game was fantastic. And what he did, I was like, uh-oh. Oh, yeah. If they have a chance to do anything, they're going after him. And seeing the fans do the Rock the Baby, Glaber sealing their win at second doing the Rock the Baby, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And that after the walk-off, I was a little nervous, but then I was like, if they force game 5 back at Yankee Stadium, the place is gonna be rocking. Then they had the rain delay happen. That team's motivated. And then, like I said, I called it. Both of you guys know. I said Giancarlo's a different guy. Come October, and what does he do? Clutch 3-run home run to start off that game, and I was like, all right, Yankees have this one. So, congrats to the Guardians. They're way ahead of schedule in my eyes. I didn't see them to fight the Yankees, to put them to the brink of elimination. Just kudos to them. I think they have a bright future, but the Yankees just had too much firepower, and having that home field in game 5 was just the changing factor for them.
Yeah, I think after game 1, I was like, all right, they might sweep the Guardians, and then they lost. And then I saw Evan Judge's numbers, and he was not hitting at all. Like the first 3 games.
I think he was 0 for 7 with like 6 strikeouts or something like that.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that. And I was nervous, like, oh, that layover wasn't helping him at all. And I was scared because to me, I think Evan Judge clearly the MVP and for the Yankees. And if he wasn't hitting, they ain't beating nobody. I'm sorry, not even the Cleveland Guardians. And then I think he started batting second. I guess it helped them. Yeah, I thought after seeing the Braves and the Dodgers lose, I thought it was gonna have the same thing with the Yankees. And Cleveland is one of those teams where they don't strike out. It's just a whole bunch of bloop hits, and they were putting the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bullpen of the Yankees looks real shaky. We clearly saw that with the blown save the other night. And the Cleveland has great pitching. But like again, once I saw that Rock the Baby by Naylor, it was just horrific. I was like, oh no, you do not kick a giant when he's down as clearly. And once I saw that, and once he did the home run, it was just he didn't tie the game, didn't get the lead. It was just got them closer.
Yeah.
And it was like, why do that? Why? And just that Yankee karma, you just saw the cloud come over. Like, okay, it's over. And then I hear then on the rain delay, they couldn't find hotels for the Guardians. So all of them was like scattered around in a way. I'm thinking like, oh, the Yankees did that. So yeah, once it was a 4:00 game yesterday, and that home run from Stanton, it was just all right, it's over. That's it. They ain't no way losing that game. And they started making arrangements against Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And now the thing we have to go through is we're here, and now we have to actually look at ahead and to look at the weaknesses from the Cleveland series and try to figure out how we advance with Houston after that. So first, and give credit to Houston. They sweep Seattle. They played an 18-inning game at one point. You know, it was one thing that was interesting to point out. We saw Altuve have a bad series. We saw Verlander not being Verlander, but on the with stellar performances for people, especially Yordan Alvarez, they are where they are. And now, as we record today on the Wednesday, the 19th, and as we look at a game at 7:30 this afternoon, we are in a good spot. And, you know, this is going to be some good stuff ahead. And now let's look into this series. Ultimately, Houston versus New York, heavyweight battle. They've played 3 previous postseason series since Houston joined the AL, I think back in 2012. Heartbreaking wild card loss in 15. 17 get it to 7 games, and they lose after leading 3-2. And then we know what happens in 2019. Altuve's home run in game 6. And we're now finally 3 years later can avenge ourselves from that. Houston's in their 6th straight championship series as well. And this Houston team just keeps winning. Like I said, despite the last series where some people performed and some didn't, you still have Altuve, you still have Yordan Alvarez, Alex Bregman, Pena, Kyle Tucker. If Verlander can get back to being Verlander, that's a stellar starting pitcher. And I mean, Houston's a really, really good team. And I am definitely aware and wary of that. So it's going to be good. And we're very excited for this series. Even on paper, Houston might come off as the better team. I think this Yankee team still has a lot of talent. And one thing you guys said, it's all about who is hot at the right time. The Yankees are hot right now. Even though they made it very nerve-wracking against Cleveland, they still won, and that momentum will go a long way. And with Houston taking a solid, 5 days off, that might be a disadvantage to them. How do you feel about this series as a whole now? Can the Yankees finally get over the hump and defeat Houston?
I think it's going to be a real tough battle for them. But again, Verlander looked extremely shaky in that first game. I'm looking at stats here: 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 walk against that Mariners team, right? He is, in his last 5 postseason starts since Game 2 of the ALCS, he's 0 for 3 with a near 6 ERA. So that's kind of crazy for Verlander. However, he is 4-1 with a sub-3 ERA in 8 starts against the Yankees in the playoffs. So he has played the Yankees a lot. He looks shaky, so who knows? I think Verlander's the type of guy who can bounce back. We've seen that multiple times for him. But just the rest of the Astros pitching staff's insane. They're all really, really good. They're all talented arms. They all perform when it matters. Their bullpen arms are solid too. I know one of them punched his locker and he broke his hand or something. Yes. I can't remember what he did. Matten or whatever, who was a great pitcher, but again, stupid move. So he's out. So they all have arms, and then obviously that lineup's insane. We thought they lose Carlos Correa, and they're not gonna have it. Then they got a guy, Jeremy Pena, who was the clutch guy in the Mariners to clinch them to get to the ALCS. Broke up that tie, right? So just a lot of talent. Jordan to me is a top 3 hitter in the AL, maybe Clearly. All of baseball. We know what he can do. If it wasn't for Aaron Judge, I think that, and Shohei Ohtani, I think you could sneak Jordan as a top 3 in MVP conversation. I think it's going to be interesting to see Jordan at Yankee Stadium with that field. I think he can hit some absolute moonshots there, depending on what happens. So I think it's going to be a battle. And we're seeing all the arms for the Yankees kind of stepping up right now. The bullpen is a little shaky compared to the Astros, where they've relied on their guys, and their guys have pitched 3 innings here and there. They've had these marathon games against the Mariners, right. And perform. So, I think it's going to be really, really interesting. I could see it go to distance, honestly. But at the end of the day, I think really the ball's in the Yankees' court. They have to show up against this Astros team. They have to be dominant from the top to bottom. They really have to, because any advantage the Astros get, they're going to take. And we saw that. We saw what Jordan did against the Mariners. Every single missed pitch, he absolutely destroyed. So you have to really show up against this Astros team, because we've seen them time and time again, and I'm talking about them now, not a few years ago with the cheating thing. Right now, this team, when it matters, they deliver in clutch moments. So you have to be at the top of your game against this Astros team, and that's why I think it's going to be a fun series, because I think the Yankees should show up here because of the history they have against this team. They finally want to get over this hill, and they know what it takes to eventually beat this Astros team. So that's why I think it's going to be really, really fun. And it really could be a toss-up for me at this point.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited about this. When the playoffs started, all I kept saying was, you know what? The Yankees better be Cleveland and Houston better be Seattle, because this is what the world's waiting for. This is what they care for. Houston is destined for the World Series. Like you said, Alvarez is MVP of the playoffs right now. He looks like Barry Bonds. Everybody combined, he's great. The whole team of Altuve's hitting is just, the team looks absolutely stacked, man. But I think one thing we learned from this playoffs is the layover. I think the 5 game is gonna affect them. Verlander, he's not a young cat no more. He's not. I get he had a great season, and I think the 5 games and what we saw from his last start, Game 1 is gonna be very interesting. If the Yankees could sneak 1 win in Houston, I think they got it. I think with Judge and Stanton, Donaldson, I think those guys, we need home runs from those guys. We need big hits. We need RBIs, big spots from them guys. I think Cole once again, he had 2 great starts. I think he'll continue that. I think every time Cole starts, at least he'll start at least 2 games this series. They need to win both those games when he starts. I love Nestor Cortez. I think he's a great number 2. Man, I do. Everything is telling me Houston. But like everything was telling me Mets and Braves and Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be an upset. I think it'll be a major upset. I'm not a Yankee fan at all, but I think the Yankees, I think they're riding this wave. They just won a big game yesterday, and they go fly out in Houston today. And I think they might sneak one big win today. I think they're gonna get this game. And if they do win this one, I think they're gonna win the series. I think it does go game 7 or at least 6. But I think the Yankees gonna sneak disappoint the Astros in the series.
All right, let me just give you my real emotional in this, my emotional part. Listen, at the end of the day, it goes like this. As I've just logged this real quick. So listen, I want the Houston Astros. I want their fans. I want everyone involved in that space city to have their hearts ripped out of their skulls. What am I saying? I want their hearts written out their bodies. I want their brains ripped out their skulls.
You can have out of those
I want everybody to suffer. It's been a solid 7 years of this bullshit with Houston always having the Yankees number. No matter what, we change managers, we change rosters, we go through it all, and Houston always is the one. Well, you know what? It's time for us to be number one. We're due for some luck. We want to finally be in the World Series. It's been 13 freaking years. Me and Alex were in high school, freshman year of high school since then.
Wow.
And now we're close to 30 years old. And I mean, Jesus. I know sports rips you to shreds and sports gives you a lot of stress. But you know what? At least for the Yankee fan, at least for that guy wearing the Yankee authentic jersey, for that person who wants to talk about Aaron Judge, they want to talk about Glaber and Garrett Cole. Well, I think it's time for us to really experience what it's like to be in the World Series again. There's a whole generation who hasn't. So with that and all our analysis with two of the greats in Alex and Leo, I want to put a cap on this. Yankees can win it. The bullpen, which was the one weakness coming into it, they held their own against Cleveland. I know that Houston is 10 times better, especially with their offense, than Cleveland was. But you know what? Baseball is one weird sport, and sometimes you need it to flow your way. And you know what? It's time for the Yankees to have some luck with it. And let's make it happen. And if they don't, if we lose in the ALCS again, then I will get that same energy, eat crow, and also talk about how we need to blow this thing up because it's clearly not working. This is our last chance. Everything's on the line. Now let's make sure we make the most of it. So that's what I have to say there as a Yankee fan. And that's my proclamation.
Very animated there, Matt. Love it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Now let's look at the National League really quick, and then we'll be wrapping it up from here. So, who would have thought? You know, it was mentioned before that we had the Phillies and San Diego. Nobody really expected this per se. I mean, when Juan Soto joined San Diego in the middle of the season, that was pretty sick, and people thought, wow, this team might have something. And then the Phillies looked like they were free falling with Joe Girardi. They changed their managers. And then, I mean, wow, look what's going on. Bryce Harper looks like the star player he was again. Kyle Schwarber, you know.
That ball still hasn't landed.
Yes,
really, 488 feet.
Yeah.
Insane stuff.
Insane.
And as we're recording this, the Phillies do lead the series 1 game to 0 in a best of 7. And, you know, solid to get a win on the road right away. And I think this Phillies team is pretty legit. And on paper, they're pretty sick. They have some stellar pitching. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. You know, if Noah Syndergaard was anything like he was in the prime with his Mets, that's another solid option. And this team defensively is pretty sweet. And Rhys Hopkins is an underrated player, I think. I think the Phillies really may have a chance. But then look at San Diego. who clearly are not afraid to beat a team that so many people thought that they couldn't beat. They knocked out the Mets and the Dodgers. Like, kudos to them. That's saying something. And the game they lost, it could have gone either way. I mean, when you only have one hit in the game, like they did in game one, you're not going to go far, but that could just turn around today. And the series moving forward with Machado and Juan Soto and Grissom playing like Grissom in 2022 playoffs. They have a lot of good things going on there, and they have a very good manager. And they're doing all this without Fernando Tatis, man. He's you forgot about him, that he was on this team. And I think there's a lot to take away from this series. And even though you have one big market team on the East Coast, one technically small market team in San Diego, I think this is still an entertaining series for baseball fans and sports fans to get into. So having said all of that, and knowing that so far the Phillies are up 1-0, how do we see the rest of this moving forward?
It's weird for me because I'm a Mets fan. I don't want to see the Phillies succeed, but
I feel you.
When I saw them getting into the postseason, right? As a Mets fan, watching the series with the Mets, like I didn't see this team as a team that can make it to the World Series, right? They have the talent, but like they have a couple good arms. Their bullpen's up and down, but like their defense was in there. Then it like clicked for them. Once it came when it mattered to clinch the wild card spot to get to where they are now, it really it clicked. All their pitching, they're hitting in big spots. Obviously, Harper, we all know, could be a perennial MVP when he came back from his injury. That like kind of changed this team. Like I think they really missed him. Once he came back, he was raking. Now he's raking in the postseason. So they have a bunch of firepower offensively. Their outfield is all kind of all-star talent. And DH and short, like they all have good arms and good bats and stuff like that. So they have the firepower. But their pitching has to hold up here. Everyone has to step up, and they have the arms to do it. They have the Nolas of the world. Wheeler dealt the other day, so but the Padres are equally offensive, as well. They have a top line. They don't have Tatis. Obviously, Tatis was there. I think everyone earlier on would have thought this team was a World Series team. Right. But they have the same kind of matchups here and there. They have the guys that can hit home runs, the guys that can get on base, right? So it's a very well-balanced lineups for both these teams, which is why I think this NLCS is exciting. As we saw yesterday, it was like a pitching duel, and then Schwarber hits the big home run to kind of get the distance. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think both these teams are well matched. I think they respect each other. They have both good talented arms. They have good talented hitting. So I really don't know who's going to win this series, honestly. It could go either way for me. Right now I'm leaning more Padres. I think they have a little bit more talent than the Phillies, but again, anything can happen in baseball, right? So I didn't think either of these two teams are going to be in the NLCS. Here we are now. It's fun so far. We have game 2 tonight. We'll see how it happens. I always say the first 2 games are always telling in a series. So we'll see tonight. It should be a lot of fun, and we'll see. But I think both these teams are really well balanced, so that's what makes this series so fun.
Yeah, like you said, baseball is weird. I thought for sure was they make this big trade for Soto, and I'm thinking, okay, they destined for the World Series, but then Tatis gets suspended, and they start losing. And Hader was horrific.
Yep.
Yeah, after the trade.
Yep, he was terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Soto is not Soto is still a great player, but he's not hitting as we known him to be. And he's still taking his walks, but he's not tearing it up, And then the Phillies, this, my Mets fans, the Mets beat up on them all year, and they are a complete mess. Like bullpen-wise, they give up late leads, and defensively, they're not the best defensive team at all. And but like you said, the lineup has always been scary, like Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, Castellanos, Realmuto. So good. The team is stacked offensively. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have trouble scoring runs, as you've seen against the 2 runs. That was enough. And San Diego again. It just, I feel like, I don't know. After they beat the Dodgers, I feel like I get it. They beat their rivals, but they were celebrating hard after that series, man. You would think they won the whole World Series. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they might be a little hungover after that. And they still got 2 rounds to go. And I feel like the Phillies, I think Harper wants it more. I think he got these guys because they know they're not supposed to be there. They know they were the afterthought after the Mets and Braves. I feel like Harper is telling this team, listen, World Series was a bust to them. I feel like they got the eye of just gold for them. And Wheeler, wow, Wheeler looks amazing. I couldn't believe it, how good he got. And then Nola's pitching tonight, I think. With San Diego, I need Soto I get it. He's a very patient hitter and he's taking his walks, but he needs to hit doubles and home runs. And for them to win, he needs to get some knocks. Same as Machado. This is gonna be a fun series. I think it was 2-0 one hit game for them. It was just, I don't think we're gonna see another game like that, honestly. I think this might be a juggernaut home run type of series, especially when they go to Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia winning game 1 was big for them, and they do have the edge right now. But I think San Diego, because I feel like they have way more pitching, and because Philadelphia, yes, they have a great lineup, but they do strike out a lot more. So I think they might edge this one out, San Diego, because they have better pitching.
Okay, so Leo is going to go with San Diego. Alex, you're going to go with San Diego.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun battle, but I think San Diego will get the edge here.
All right, cool. And I'm going to go with the Phillies.
There we
not
go.
to just even it out, but I really think, especially with the lineups clicking and Leo, you literally named their all-star caliber players there. And as long as they can, I know the bullpen too can hold their own. Mm-hmm. I think Philadelphia is going to be back in the World Series for the first time since 2009. And also saying that, I think I'm going to just go with it. May be more of a heart than head decision. I will go with the Yankees in 7, and we'll see a rematch of the 2009 World Series. You said the Yankees as well, Leo and Alex, or you went with Houston? Excuse me.
Ooh, I'm trying to.
He hasn't chosen.
Okay,
I haven't really chosen yet. I was like up in the air.
All right, the big moment here.
I mean, as much as like I said, I want. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do this because I want the Yankees to finally redeem themselves and get over this Astros hill. I'm going to go Yankees in 6. I'm not even saying it's going the distance. Yankees in 6. I'll say it would be that. I want them to, like I said, I'm sick of the Astros. They're a very, very talented team. They're getting to like the LeBron level for me, where like LeBron was in the finals every single year. Right. It's like, all right, can we finally have someone? And then it was so great to see like Giannis finally be in the finals, and we're like, yeah, fine, like someone different. And the Bucks and the Suns are so refreshing. I want to finally see someone different than the Astros finally get into the World Series. So that's why I'll pick the Yankees.
You got it. All right. And Leo, do you want to elaborate that a little more?
Oh, same thing. Houston, listen. Houston is the most hated team in baseball and maybe in all sports. And you can tell if I'm choosing the Yankees over the Houston. I think this is, if like you said earlier, if the Yankees can't beat them this year, right now, this series, then they got to restart and blow it up and try again. But I think it's going to be a very tight series, but I think the Yankees could upset them this year.
All right, I like it. So at this moment, I'm going to go with the Yankees-Phillies World Series. Leo and Alex will go with a Yankees and San Diego World Series. And there's definitely a lot of excitement on both picks. So with that, gentlemen, I think we're all wrapped up, ready to go. I'll see you after the series, or if there's some major disaster that we have to make some comments right away. But Alex and Leo, I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much.
Thank you for having us again. Anytime.
All right. Alex Young. Alex Young, Leo Rodriguez. See you later, gentlemen.
See you guys.